Welcome to the Solopreneur Academy Podcast. This is a podcast for entrepreneurs who want to make more impact and income in less time. I'm your host, Megan, and throughout each episode, you'll learn how to create the lifestyle and legacy you want as you grow. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the new Solopreneur Academy podcast. As you guys know, if you've been listening to the past couple of episodes, there have been lots of changes going on within changing the name of my offers, changing the name of this podcast, and what better way for you guys to understand about the changes happening in my business firsthand from somebody who is in one of my programs. Today, you're going to be hearing from the incredible Dr. Jamay, and she's going to be talking about her experience working with me since last summer in what was marketing systems and is now the new and improved 5-figure foundation. Now, if you hear Dr. Jamay today and you're like, wow, okay, I could really use some of this in my life. I want to join. I'm hearing so many things that Dr. Jamay is going through that relate personally to me. I would love to be your coach within 5-figure foundation. And I'll have all the information about how to join in the show notes. But if you're listening to this in real time, make sure that you sign up for the 10K in 90 days workshop. It is going to be on February 23rd at 8 p.m. Eastern. And on that webinar, or workshop, should I say, we are going to be going over all of the things that you can do to help you make 10K in the next 90 days. Plus, I'll be including some fun bonuses if you attend live. Now, if you are listening to this in the future, I am sure there are other awesome things that are going to be going on with that program. So still check out the show notes, not only to learn what's going on with these awesome programs, but also because the amazing Dr. Jamay's information is going to be in there. So you can check her out and see what she's up to later on. So with that being said, let me introduce you to the amazing Dr. Jamay. Do you want to go ahead and say hello? Tell the people what you do, and then I'm going to ask you some questions about your experience in 5-figure foundation.
Thank you so much, Megan, for having me on your podcast. This is so much fun. I am Dr. Jamay Fisher, and I am a business coach, and I work with entrepreneurs, and I work with them to close lucrative contracts and also to grow their business and attract high-end clients. So I have been working with Megan now, and I feel like I've been her friend forever, but I've been
Yeah.
working with Megan now for a few months in the program, and I have had the most amazing experience. So I'm so happy to be here.
We are so happy to have you. And I think that one of the reasons why I had Dr. Jamay come on is because there are so many pieces of her personal life that I think most people on the podcast will resonate with. So for you, when people are thinking about investing in themselves and their business, you are a full-time professor. You are working full-time. You are also a caregiver full-time for your husband. So you have a lot of stuff going on with a full-time job. You also have your business going on in the evening hours and part-time hours. And then you're also caring for your loved one. What made you decide to join while being a full-time caregiver and working full-time too?
I have to say, last year before I came into Megan's world and really got to know her work, like my business was it was hanging on by a thread. So it was barely there. I had promised myself by the time I turned 50, because I'm 50 now. So exciting. So by the time I turned 50, I was like, I was going to decide like if I even wanted to continue my business or not. But I love my business. And I had some like trepidation because I'm a full-time tenured professor. My job is really high, it's really demanding. So not only is it a full-time, like, because a lot of people in our community and Megan community, they work full-time too. But I feel like my like full-time professoring, and I am tenured, so I don't take that for granted, but it still is really demanding. The more responsibility you're giving, the more is expected of you. So, but I didn't want my business to die on the vine. So I was like, I gotta figure out a way to do this business. And I had met Megan in other circles before, and I knew that your training is really rigorous, and you come from a really rigorous background. And I knew that your like the perspective you bring to the work is really solid and really timeless and classic. So when I came across your work on socials, and I was like, I gotta work with her because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pull this off or not. And I had already, like I said, I already knew your work and things like that. And I knew but when I found out that you were helping people create the foundation for their business, I was like, this is exactly what I need. I need a foundation because if I don't have a foundation, when life comes at me and the demands of professoring comes at me and taking care of my partner, and for people who are raising a family, I know it's different, but it's still like it's an emotional and time investment there. I was like, if I don't work with Megan, I don't know if I'm going to continue to do this business or not. So that's what made me join.
Well, and I think that so many people can relate to that. I felt like that too. When I was trying to figure things out, I was doing things on my way to school. I was thinking about my content on the way. I would work after school. And for me, I was like, if this doesn't like actually start working sometime soon, I can't keep spending all of my waking hours on this. I need this to work. And I am so, so glad that you joined. Even especially like you joined during the summer to make sure that you got all of this content in, just make things easier. And I really do think that for you and for so many other people, I wanted to create a business that felt safe to run, that felt simple, easy, doable. And that is, I'm just so glad that you found it because you're too talented to quit.
Thank you. And I'll be honest, like I was like, because I mean, my audience want to create, attract high-end clients. And my experience, because I come from doing PR on Capitol Hill, and my experience, I mean, I've been doing like PR work and like all the things as a professor and all those things like that is really about high touch. But I was like, how can I do this work in a different way where it doesn't require me to always work all the time and my business is working for me behind the scenes when I'm doing campaigns, when I'm in the university, like applying the things that I'm learning. I want my business to work at the same time while I'm doing other things because it's only so much you can do as one person. And that's why I knew, like Megan, I know like I know the foundation you have for how you approach your work is unparalleled. I was like, I've got to work with it because I hate social media. I hated social media. I did not like it. I thought it was fluff. I was like, I can't attract high-end clients here. But I was like, if I could if Megan can teach me how to do this and doing it over socials, working in social media with my social media and creating the foundations around there, then this is the ticket. This is the golden ticket.
I'm so, so glad. And that's how I felt too. I was like, what a great resource if I could only figure out how to use it. Because, man, the hours that I spent trying to get my social media to work that were so wasted, it was such a pain. And that's what I hope for everybody listening to this podcast. And of course, if you do want to work with me, like, I want to make things so simple because it can work. You can, of course, attract high end clients on social, and it's so possible. So I'm so glad that you found that. Now, I want to know within Five Figure Foundation, which once was marketing systems, but we're switching. What has you learned? Like specific things, because I know this is one of the things for me is like if I'm investing in it with a coach and I'm like, I want to spend money and time with somebody else. I want to make sure it's worth my while. I want to make sure I'm going to learn something tangible, something that is doable. And so for you, what are the things that you have learned within Five Figure Foundation that have made things easier for you?
Well, everyone loves a good before and after story. So I mean, I was on social media, but it felt like the wild, wild west. I was like, what is happening in the world? This is such a waste of time. But I was like, I know that my clients are there. I know that this is a powerful tool that can work for me while I'm not hands-on in the business. So it was a steep learning curve, I have to admit, but it was so much fun because sometimes learning can be really challenging, and it still is, but it was like fun. And I learned the foundation, the system. I learned how to talk about my work and my offer in a new way and apply it to socials. I learned how to create a calendar that works for my busy schedule, that is actually fun. I look forward to creating the systems and the calendar now for my social media. I learn how to talk about my work in a way that's unique to that particular audience. And Megan helps me with my on the ground work too. So it's not just the social media aspect of it, but in my opinion, like that is the golden ticket to me. Like that's part of her genius. I mean, I mean, I could just talk about you all day. I'm talking about you in third person like you're not here. But like the beauty of the work that I've done with you is that I know how to talk about my work on the ground in a different way because you have helped me in that way. And I know how to talk about the ethos of my business, the pillars of my business. We reframe the how I was going about the work and the underpinnings or the foundations of my own work. So now it makes it easier to post online and create content and create consult from that content. So the before and after is just like a whole new different experience because I was really just overwhelmed with solopreneurship and life and all the things and turning 50 and everything else. So I was like, I knew how to grow big businesses. Like I work with Kellogg and I work with like a lot of international places. I've done international work in Japan and Europe and places like that. So I knew how to work with big systems in really intimate like settings and things like that. But I didn't know how to use that for an everyday experience in my business, how to use that to actually teach people what I do in the socials in a way that's not spammy, that's not cheeky, but that's really authentic. So,
I love that. Well, and the thing that I want to touch on really quick is when I think a lot of people, I came from a teaching background, but a lot of my clients come from corporate. So they are working in a huge machine of a larger business. And within that, you learn certain jargon and ways that things are run that I think can actually be a tricky thing that you can adapt to social media and to running your own business. So when Dr. Jamay and I met, one of the things that I see happen for a lot of people is you know what you do at a really high level, but the explanation of that can get a little wonky. So like as Dr. Jamay said, she's been doing PR for big organizations. You've done that for, you worked on the Hill. So within your scope and your frame of reference, the wording that you were using before we started working together was, I'm going to help you with your branding, and then I'm going to help you with your PR. And what we learned through trial and evaluate, which is what we do, this is why these programs are a full year, is we found that people were looking at you like a graphic designer. And when you said branding, they weren't thinking about the brand as far as the emotions that they were creating, the confidence in their offer, the way they were talking about it. They were like, oh, you can give me colors in a website. And you were like, oh no, this is not what I want to do. And then with the PR side of things, they were like, are you going to get me a magazine article? Are you going to get me on podcasts? And it was like, oh, no, we really don't need to be talking about that. We need to be talking about building you a network. So do you mind talking about like how that shift kind of came about? Because when you said on the ground, Dr. Jamay is going to these networking events. She had been going to networking events, but they weren't converting, and we had to figure out why. So, do you mind sharing about like how changing that has now shifted people understanding what you do?
It's really and it's an art, it's a beautiful art, it's so much fun. And how I don't know if I'm gonna answer the question or not, so you can ask me again if I
Yeah.
don't answer the question. But I was saying it in a way where, like you said, people would say, "Oh, do you do press releases? Do you book like podcasts and like PR?" And I would still explain my work as PR because I saw it differently. Like I was working with I mean, Kellogg and members of Congress on the Hill. Like those are big organizations, for profit and nonprofit. And I was used to talking about it in a way, but now like I started playing around before I wish I had met Megan. Like, I mean, I have met Megan because we're in the same circles, but I wish I had joined her program and did not wait until that summer because I was not even confident myself. Like, I wasn't confidently talking about my work. Like, I would say, oh, I do PR, but most people don't understand PR. Now, I don't even say that anymore. Like I
Yes.
started playing around with the word brand and people were like, "Oh, do you do fonts?" And I'm like, "No." So it was really more time spent. I was not confident because I wanted to not spend, I love educating. Like Megan comes from the world of education too. That's why her work is rigorous too. She understands how brains learn. So adults and all people of all ages, but I couldn't figure out how to get in my own mind to figure out how to confidently talk about my work in a way that people understood. And Megan was like, "Oh no, no, I get what you're thinking." Like you were like, "Okay, I get what you're trying to say here. Let's just say it this way." So it's like a meeting of the minds, I guess is a way to describe working with you.
Well, and I think about it is like I can translate your talents and your
Yeah.
gifts into things that the average Joe on the street would actually understand. And I think that's like just because I guess coming from an elementary school background, we had to break things down into ways that people understood. But people like on our calls and things like that, if you're like, okay, here's how I'm saying things, help me say it in a way that people are going to get. I literally will have people just give me like a stream of consciousness. And I'm especially because a lot of people who are in solopreneurship, we become solopreneurs because we've developed expertise over years. Like I see this so many times with coaches, they're talking about mindset, they're talking about um, thought work. And the average person on the street doesn't see the value in thought work. You have to translate it into something that they feel is valuable, something that's relatable, and something that's urgent that they want to relevantly invest in. So I am
That's
so, so
the
glad you found it.
ROI. Like the ROI is conveying the value of your work.
Yeah.
So the ROI working in your program has been just insane. Like the value is there, like understanding how to convey the value of your work is actually freeing because business had become really, really stressful for me with all of the demands in other areas of my life. And I was always anti-systems. Like I was like, oh, systems are not fun. Like I like being in front of the camera. I like talking to people. But like if systems and creating a foundation for your business is actually really fun.
Yeah.
So and you have like you understand like working with you, like you teach us how to understand how to do this work. So when we're on our own or if we're doing things and like we have to do something on the fly, we understand how to convey the value of our work in a way that is systematic. So,
I love it. And again, like that's one of the reasons why I changed my name. I'm so glad you brought that up because so many people were like, oh, systems, they're going to be bad, they're going to be hard. And what we really mean by that are the routines, simply creating a way to structure your business in a way that works for your day to day life. That's what we do in this program. And so I am so excited for you. I really do feel like for all of us, 2026, I genuinely think is going to be the best year yet. Do you mind sharing with the amazing people of the podcast what are some results that you've created since we started working together?
well, Megan talks a lot about creating content and consults, and that's exactly what I've done. I started doing it right away in my work. I had never I had created content, but not consults from that content. And now I know how to create content to consults. And I know how to interact on socials as a human, not spammy, not salesy, but like to actually have authentic, because I come from the world of PR, how to have authentic conversations with people in a way that my confidence is through the roof. Like I would feel like I really didn't have people showing up in my messenger on my socials before I started working with you. But when they did, like I didn't know what to say. People would come onto my page and like become a new follower. I didn't know what to tell them. So now I know how to interact with them and create the consults from there. I know my calendar is booked. Like I started getting really bored in my business too. Now my calendar is booked. I'm doing speaking engagements and creating even consults from that, creating content to consult from that too. So the big thing was like learning how to create consults that lead to revenue and profitability in my business because my business had stopped being profitable because I didn't know how to like reach people in all the new ways and things like that. So that's how my business has changed. I think I said this already. I joined working with you in the summer, but I wish I hadn't waited. So I wish I had a join. I mean, I wouldn't, if someone says, like, should I wait till the summer because my calendar is so busy? Do you want to make money or not? So if you want to
I
make
love
money,
that.
join today. If you want to wait till the summer to make money, then sure, Megan will be around. She'll be around. You can join in the summer, but do you want to wait till summer to make money? Or you want to start making money tomorrow? So it's as simple as that.
That's the goal. And that for me is like, for everyone that's listening, I want to make it so accessible. If you are in a busy season of life, if you have other demands, what I tell people is like a lot of times with my life, I would be like, can you Spark Notes the module for me? Can you tell me? It's like if I am just getting started, like where do I get going? Even if you join and that is where you're at, I will point you in the right direction, help you out. Like I really do feel so confident that this will get you exactly where you need to go, bringing in money, making things simple, making things doable. And I'm so glad that you found that. And the very last question. So, for anyone that is not familiar with Dr. Jamae, she is not only a tenured professor who has had so much incredible life experience, but she's also written books. She has written articles. I mean, the way that we've been able to talk about you and the work that you do within the education sphere and now translating it to business has been so fun and just a delight to watch. And I'm sure there are people who are listening to this podcast that are like, I want to get to know Dr. Jamay better. I might even want to work with her one on one. How can people find you and where can people go to work with you?
People can find me on Instagram at Jamae Fisher. Fisher is how my last name is spelled. My links for my books is there. My resources are there. I also have my consult link there where people can book a call with me so I can show them how to get from point A to point B and start to create like the framework for their own attract, like how they bring and acquire high-end clients in their work and become sought after in that way. So that's there too. My website is leadinglavishly.com. So people can book a consult there too. So people can find me in those two places. I honestly left my before and after up on my social media too, so people can see how much my business has evolved. So
I love this. And with like within your business, the way that we've really learned that you help people grow is you talk about prestigious positioning, elite networking, and remind me of the last one that you figured out.
prestigious positioning, elite networking, and strategic planning. And
It's
I love strategic planning now. I didn't used to like it. Now I was really good at it, but now I love it because I know how to working with you, Megan. You taught me how to bring it to people so more people can use it too. So
so good. You are amazing. Thank you so, so much for sharing with people on the podcast. I will put all of her links in the show notes. And if you are thinking about joining Five Figure Foundation or just learning more about the 10K in 90 days workshop, if you're listening to this in real time in February of 2026, make sure you look in the show notes and I will have all that information there for you. And we will be seeing you on the next episode. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Did you know that 89% of people need to see a testimonial in order to buy? Get my free testimonial template using the link in the show notes, and you'll see exactly how I used testimonials to market my business as it grew to 120K in my first year full-time and multiple six figures every year after that. Thank you so much again for listening, and I can't wait to see you on the next episode of the Solopreneur Academy Podcast.